What does it mean for XRP holders specifically?
What does it mean for XRP holders? I think XRP holders are deservedly excited about what Flare is doing. I'm excited about what Flare is doing.
At banks, I'm talking much broader. You know, I think a lot of the banks that we've spoken to are already engaged in DeFi.
That people from institutions that offer services to hundreds of institutions are the ones telling you all that this is happening. So yeah, let's transition, and I want to pick up where you were talking about a second ago about just the yield generating part of these NFTs and digital assets, because we're really starting to see a proliferation of this, bro, where, you know, people are starting to really wake up. We had one of our followers or one of our viewers say just a second ago, and I see more and more of this like every day. Like once people tap in, they read documents, they realize that DeFi has matured. It's not what it was back in 2022. And there are safer options. Obviously, of course, there's always still risk involved, but there's risk involved with just holding crypto in general. So there's always a level of risk. But once you get past the high risk stuff, there are actually some really good protocols, some really good DeFi opportunities, and even yield opportunities that you can partake in right now on stable coins that are regulated, right now in the moment. So, you know, once you push past all that, you open the door for massive price appreciation coupled with yield every single day, every single second, every single hour, and just compounding that. And that is my firm belief of true wealth transformation in this digital system that we're moving into. DeFi is going to be the new normal. It's going to be the new sexy for a couple of years while everybody kind of awakens to it. And we are on the cusp of that. So I'm going to continue to show you that that is happening, that large organizations like Ripple are the ones telling you all this in their documents. Even utility assets like Algo and the Algorand Foundation are in the process of literally telling you all firsthand that this is taking place. And so the second portion of today's call, I want to show you all that proof. And then eventually we're going to get to this DC Blockchain Summit 2025 titled Digital Liberty Expanding. And here in the CYPRX community, we've been advocates of telling you all that DeFi is the level playing field. I've shown you guys previous clips of Trump during his last term talk about this level playing field. If you've been in the XRP army for some time, you've seen individual influencers on the internet like 24 Hours Crypto, who is a great, in my personal opinion, deep researcher, show you guys videos of a whole bunch of people from traditional finance say that we are transitioning over to this level playing field, right? And I have a video clip of Donald Trump Jr. openly admitting at this DC blockchain summit that the old banking system is dead. It's done. It's old. It's outdated. And it's all a scam. He literally says word for word, it is all a scam. And him and his family, including Donald Trump, all participated at the top of the pyramid. And right now we're in a transition where that is all crumbling and everything is transitioning over to blockchain, DeFi, and digital assets. It's not going to come from me. That is going to come directly from the president's son, right? So you have to really open your mind and think these people are now allowed to say these things. In years before, okay, bankers, politicians, what were they doing? They were diminishing the appeal for crypto. That entire sentiment has now shifted and all of them are supporting it. That has never happened in history. And what does that do? That information that the politicians, that the people that own the media, they're going to start to trickle and feed it to the general public. And we're seeing that happen. So crypto is not being painted as this scam anymore, like it was back in 2022. It's going to be painted very shortly by these politicians that everybody favors and follows and right? As a golden grail to start to earn yield because we're not paying you good amounts of money. There's even a video I'm going to show you of this guy from World Liberty Finance where he says, oh, you know, the average person that's making $4,000 a month wants to walk away at the end of the month because they're living paycheck to paycheck, can put their money in DeFi and come away at the end of the month with more money, like word for word. I'm going to show you guys that. So continue to tap in with us. We're seeing people here. Shout out to Blockchain Everything. One of the viewers on CYPRX said, I finally put my big boy pants on and started staking my assets, learning more about DeFi. Shake my head. I missed 7 years of free money.
Just money on the table, 7 years. This is, you know, this takes a lot of humility to make a post like this, though. And that's what I feel a lot of people just lack in general, that humility of like, damn, you know what? I messed up. Like, I wasn't paying attention. And this is, you know, and that's good. I feel like that's you're making progress when you have that humility and you embrace, like, you know what? Not everything is a fight. Not everything is a battle and a debate. Maybe, you know, this DeFi thing is what these guys are saying it is. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
What this person just did, and he might not even realize it yet, but what he just did is he took, so like, imagine him in a line of the entire population, right? And just down the left, down the right, you know, is everybody in the world. And they're all standing on the line. What this person just did is he just took 10 steps forward ahead of the rest of the population. And this one awakening that he had, that he missed out on 7 years of free money, I could not imagine looking back 5 years from now and saying, dang, I did not participate in DeFi. Like, the entire, until 2030, when all this stuff really kicks off, if you're not earning yield on your digital assets between now and then, you are missing out on so much upside potential in your portfolio, like just from collecting yield and compounding it. Like, this is such a crazy opportunity that we now are transitioning. Like, it's still, as an XRP holder that's been holding XRP since 2017 and been mentally fighting this court case and, you know, all the manipulation, all the freaking scare tactics and all this and that, especially when XRP was trading at 28 to 30 cents and blah, blah. Bro, there's just so much. And if the whole time, that whole entire 5-year period from 2020 until now, we could have just been yielding on our XRP. Y'all, think of how much bigger your XRP bags would be. Come on now, XRP army, wake up. Because the entire time that was happening to the XRP army, ETH holders were just collecting, bro. Collecting. The whole time.
The whole time. Silently and quietly, like just like, hey, like just debate with them and don't tell them what we really got going on over here on the Ethereum chain, because they've been printing, bro, printing.
The crazy part is I had a realization. I see all these XRP people talking about, why is ETH over XRP is the number 2 digital asset, and all it takes for you to do is just to go look at the TVL in the DeFi ecosystem that is locked on Ethereum compared to the XRPL, bro. It's peanuts. Oh man.
Peanuts.
And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh. Do you know what's going to happen? What Ripple has building and all their institutional partners, y'all, and how now the entire focus for institutions to really come into this space, they need to turn these digital assets into, from a liability on their balance sheet that earns no yield, to something that is yield generating. And that's all happening right now. Check this out. All right. So we'll start here. This is just a fun post. Okay. But because a yield generation platform on XRPL right now, Doppler Finance, commented under this. And I said, it's crazy to see how far we've come, and even more insane to know how much farther we will go. 5 years ago, this was a laughable headline, right? And I posted XRP, and it says here, okay, this, because again, if you posted this 5 years ago when the SEC court case was announced, it says, introducing XRP and micro XRP futures launching May 19th. Expand your crypto trading opportunities. Trade regulated. Do you all see how they start that off, y'all? Trade regulated capital efficient futures on XRP. Boom. This was a laughable headline 5 years ago. And now here we are 5 years later. That's all it took. 5 years is not a long time, right? And everybody that talk crap about XRP just looks like an idiot right now, like absolute stupid idiot, y'all. And right underneath of that, Doppler Finance said, if you're happy about where XRP is going, then you should be ecstatic about depositing it on Doppler Finance and earning yield with it. Now, I'm not an advocate for Doppler Finance by any means, and I've shown people what capabilities it offers. I personally don't utilize the platform because it hasn't proven a track record yet, in my personal opinion. Maybe in the next year, I'll expose my XRP to the platform, but right now, I don't use the platform. If I use my XRP in the DeFi ecosystem, is through other means, not Doppler. Just want to make that clear. But still, I thought that it was cool that they commented on that, considering the topic that we're on. Aqua, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, where were you going to go after this? Do you think right now would be a good time to just share what the F assets in the Brad Garlinghouse video quickly?
Yeah, okay. So I definitely want to get to that. So let me just
Okay.
continue, I guess, to show to triple into that, because that video, if I'm not mistaken, that you're talking about is like 2 or 3 years old, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be a great transition, because then it'll kind of prove that they've been subliminally talking about this for some time, because what just launched? F assets, XRP-Fi, freaking the whole entire Flare ecosystem and what they've been building over the last 2 years. So that'll go perfect. Just let me continue to prove to you guys that, Ripple are the ones telling you all that this is happening, right? So this was posted by the Ripple LinkedIn profile the other day, 2 days ago to be exact. And it says, used as collateral, integrated into global payments, trusted by institutions. Those are big vocabulary words right there, right? We're going to focus on collateral. And if we come over here, this is the post from their website, May 13th, 2025. Stablecoin use cases, what are they used for? And if I'm just going to read one highlight. And again, I want you guys to pay attention to the key vocab: collateral. For banks, asset managers, and hedge funds, stablecoins offer an efficient on-ramp to decentralized finance, DeFi, without compromising on compliance or performance. RLUSD, built on the XRP ledger, acts as a trusted, regulated stablecoin that institutions can use to post collateral, there's that key vocab word, settle trades, and unlock liquidity across blockchain-based platforms. Hidden Road will be leveraging RLUSD as collateral across its global prime brokerage platform, demonstrating the first real-world application of cross-merging stablecoins in institutional workflows. This allows firms to seamlessly bridge trading activities. This is going to be important, because I'm going to show you guys a perspective from a trading institutional person in this space that says all the banks are paying attention to DeFi. She specifically says that. I'm going to blow your mind. So this is also important. Derivatives and digital assets, improving capital efficiency and reducing operational friction. Okay. And if we come over here, keeping in mind that key vocab word, collateral, this was freaking at the SEC roundtable that took place just like 3 days ago. I streamed it live on X, and you got Robbie Mitchnick from BlackRock. You got Christine Moy from Apollo. You got Cynthia Lowe from Fidelity, who I've all shown physical proof in previous video breakdowns that they have all talked about using DeFi with their mobile applications, right? And earning yield up to every second until they spend it. Remember, me and Aqua played that video for you guys last week on the live. And they were all sitting on this freaking round table, y'all. Come on now. Robbie Mitchnick from BlackRock, where did he used to work? Ripple. Don't play games, y'all. Come on. And look at what, I'm going to play this video clip. Look at what Cynthia Lowe says. Keep in mind the word collateral. Listen to what she says here.
About the technology, but what you just talked about financial primitives, and so a point that we talk a lot about is finance is still finance. At the end of all of the conversations around the technicalities of the things that this technology can do, and what this technology and moving assets on chain to be able to be loaned or used as collateral in a pool that able to be loaned or used as collateral in a pool that it enables a wider range of access to capital. So this is really, at the end of the day, about facilitating more efficient capital flows by creating these new structures that will create more direct access for individuals to use their assets in ways that today are limited by the intermediaries with which they are currently engaged in.
There's so much to unpack, where users are going to be able to use their assets in ways that are otherwise limited right now with the current infrastructure. And she talks about utilizing them as collateral and loans. And what did Ripple just do? Guys, come on now. Look at this. For banks, asset managers, and hedge funds, stablecoins offer efficient on-ramp for DeFi without compromising, like literally right here. We're going to be able to utilize RLUSD for collateral across all these things. Do you see? This is crazy. This is crazy confirmation that this is happening. And they're talking about
pools.
And she said liquidity pools.
Yeah.
Now,
she definitely
to end this spiel, so that Aqua can show you guys what Brad Garlinghouse said years ago. Well, do y'all remember what Monica Long said just the other day, that this is going to be huge for DeFi, right? Listen to this.
So Ripple is acquiring Hidden Road, which is a prime broker. They're a very high growth prime broker, one of the largest as the non-bank prime brokers. And this is a big deal. It's $1.225 billion.
What does it mean?
Thank you.
What does it mean for Ripple's business? Because you've been on a path to really diversify the business beyond kind of how you started in payments, and there's custody, stable coins now. And so what does this add to the Ripple business?
It's all coming together. So we've talked for a long while about institutional decentralized finance. Many of us here talk about institutions coming into the world of blockchain and DeFi. And this is going to blast that into a new milestone, kind of a new stratosphere.
Like, you don't even need to show anybody anything anymore. Like, she literally just said this is going to blast DeFi into the stratosphere. Now, please, y'all, go do the math yourself and see what will happen to the price of XRP if it took on the TVL that is on Ethereum right now. Okay, just go do the math on the amount of demand that will create for the digital asset XRP, and you will put aside remittances and cross-border payments and all the bullish moonboy hopium and hype, and you will really see what's about to come in the next 5 years, because this is how institutions are about to outpace everybody, bro.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I love what she said. Blast it into a new stratosphere. Like, that just tells me that type of language, and comparing and contrasting to the Ethereum chain right now, which has, what does Ethereum have on it right now? If I can guess correctly, it probably has like 80 billion on it right now. It's usually more than half of all the TVL, right? So if institutions operate in billions and even trillions, and let's just say Ripple has like a handful of institutional relationships, and all 5 of those want to start off with $1 billion, maybe, like, it's mind-blowing. Like, it's absolutely mind-blowing. But it definitely, you can see. So yeah, 62 billion right now, more than half. Yeah, compared to 64 million, which is peanuts, like you were saying, bro. Peanuts.
I mean, and of course, I don't think that this is accurate, because there's some TVL in the DeFi ecosystem built on the XRPL right now that's not reflected, because DeFi Llama just doesn't have access to the data. So again, I can't sit here and say that this is accurate, but it's probably not far off by a couple million, right? I mean, there's definitely not over $2 billion of DeFi of TVL locked specifically in the DeFi ecosystem on DeFi protocols on the XRPL, and that is about to change. Once whales are successfully able to earn yield on their XRP, which will eventually be programmed into these ETF packages. That's a lot of things that people don't understand. That's what Peersys is doing with the EVM sidechain. It opens up DeFi primitives on the XRPL. And once some platform out there is able to integrate that and make it available for institutions in the staked package, like, because that's going to offer the door for staking on the XRPL, dude, like, this is going to be freaking crazy. I don't think people are ready for this. And we're not sitting here saying that this is going to happen tomorrow, because it's not. I'm not the type of person that's going to convince anybody that this is going to freaking skyrocket the price of XRP tomorrow. But in 5 years from now, oh my goodness gracious, I promise you right now, I can say this with confidence, this number is going to be significantly higher than what it's at right now. And that is a fact.
Yeah, and what I was trying to say earlier, I said billions. What I meant to say is trillions. So, like, new stratosphere, the language that she was using, that's like massive. So, like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that number in the trillions.
So back to this, because I want to full circle and close this down so you can play that video of Brad Garlinghouse. Don't think we forgot. So back to this document from Ripple, key vocab, because I want to prove to you guys that people from institutions that offer services to hundreds of institutions are the ones telling you all that this is happening. Me and Aqua are not here to give you guys our opinions. We're here to transfer information that we are accumulating over to you all. You all can take that information, process it, and do with it what you want. That's what we're here to do. We're not here to necessarily speculate. We're here to show you guys in such a way that they're telling you all this. So I highlighted this in green, institutional workflows. This allows firms to seamlessly bridge trading, I highlighted in purple, actively between FX and derivatives and digital assets, improving capital efficiency and reducing operational friction. Well, if we come over here, here is a video of this lady. Her name is Aya. I'm not going to butcher her last name, but she is the co-founder of this organization called August, right? Listen to what she says here. Just pay attention to detail.
And use a different counterparty. And so, at least for the folks we've spoken to, people very, very much understand how important DeFi is. It's really just a regulatory piece, and we've seen since late Jan that those conversations have sped up dramatically, and almost to the point where it feels like every person I'm speaking to on a call, because these conversations now went from, oh, I can't have this discussion, to let's have all of the discussions, and we're all exhausted because suddenly the tap has been turned on again, and everyone wants to start a DeFi project, some sort of initiative, where even if they fork something
internally at these CFI firms,
at banks. I'm talking much broader. I think a lot of the banks that we've spoken to are already engaged in DeFi in some way, shape, or form in a permission sense.
You cannot, if you do not have more credentials than this lady, you gotta tap in. Look at this. So let me share with you guys. Check this out. August, this platform says here on their website, institutional grade platform for crypto. And right down here, it talks about how they offer secure and capital efficient access to spot, derivative, and DeFi trading, where users can swap, they can stake, they can provide liquidity, and they can access OTC products across multiple blockchain networks in one platform. This proves that there is a portion of DeFi, y'all, that is regulated. So anybody that tells you that DeFi is not regulated is a liar. There is a portion of DeFi that is regulated right now, because look at the keywords. Derivative trading, look at what I highlighted on Ripple and what they're about to provide for institutional clients with RLUSD. Y'all, come on now. Trading, derivatives, institutional workflows. Institutions are going to be able to utilize RLUSD for DeFi primitives, lending, borrowing, utilizing it as collateral. Come on now, people. This is undeniable freaking proof that this is happening right freaking now.
Bro, this is massive. This is absolutely massive. And then when she was talking about forking it, you got protocols right now that you can fork. So like Aerodrome is forkable. And then what Marshall Hayner's got going on over there with Proton and Metal and his relationships with the credit unions sounds exactly what the credit unions are going to do with that chain. So it's just like what she is saying aligns with so many other things that I'm aware of. And yeah, this is going to be absolutely massive. I mean, we're talking about trillions of dollars, you know what I mean, at this point now. Like, this is going to be trillions, just like what that guy said. A dam of liquidity is waiting to be poured in here. So yeah.
I want to cap on one thing that she said before we play. I'll let you share the screen, share the Brad Garlinghouse thing, and then we'll roll over into Flare and that whole entire thing for a little bit. But she specifically said, everybody is looking to open up some type of DeFi solution, right? And this goes hand in hand with what you shared the other day. You shared, well, I'll play the video clip first. Listen to again what she says.
Very, very much understand how important DeFi is. It's really just a regulatory piece. And we've seen since, late Jan that those conversations have sped up dramatically, and almost to the point where it feels like every person I'm speaking to on a call, because these conversations now went from, oh, I can't have this discussion, to let's have all of the discussions, and we're all exhausted because suddenly the tap has been turned on again, and everyone wants to start a DeFi project, some sort of initiative, where even if they fork something
internally at these CFI firms,
at banks. I'm talking much
now, hold on, bro. I'm about to put the cherry on top. Don't get excited yet. Just wait, save it, because I'm gonna blow it off the roof. So to prove to you guys that me and Aqua are showing you all people that know what they're talking about, this video was posted 2 months ago. Keep in mind. Okay, so this is 2 months old. It only has 500 views. It was shared in the research chat, and we came across this. Now, fast forward to today, we laugh at articles like this that Aqua shared the other day. Look at this. She specifically said people from banks are literally jumping to start DeFi primitives, right? Look at this. Harvey L. just posted this the other day. He stems from a global market research platform. Big banks are increasingly moving into digital assets. The pasture is green. So why are heads of digital assets leaving? Andrew Peel, CFA, head of digital assets at Morgan Stanley, y'all, just left the firm to start his new fund to invest and to issue digital assets and tokenize assets. And look at the headline from Bloomberg. It says, Morgan Stanley digital assets head quits to start a new DeFi fund. So what this lady said 2 months ago and why we pay attention to this stuff at CYPRX is because we already knew that this was happening. And so what this allows us to do is go in and capitalize on projects that are partnering with institutions that these people, because this guy, he's going to choose most likely a protocol to build his DeFi fund on. And so we here at CYPRX like to tap in and pay attention to this stuff, because if we can go in and see what platform, what protocol, because let's say he goes and he builds this on Polygon or he builds it on Solana or whatever. Well, guess what? All his connections and all his networks and all the TVL that he's got in his circle is about to come on the Solana chain. Come on, y'all. You got to tap. And I'm not saying that it's going to be Solana by any means or whatever the case, but I'm just piecing together why we're tapped in and paying attention to this stuff. So anyways.
And it's all about relationships. So 100%, that's exactly what's going to happen. A good amount of those relationships are going to bring liquidity to whatever that man builds. And, you know, when we were having this conversation, I like what you said about the CTO or whatever that stepped away from Algorand. Like, he didn't step away from Algorand because Algorand's tech is garbage. Like, no, like what you said, he's probably under an NDA. He walked away because he's starting some other venture because he sees the bigger picture of what this whole ecosystem is eventually going to look like. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, I want to, actually, as a matter of fact, that'll be a great transition over to our next conversation. But let's dial it back. Let me not share my screen and then play that video of Brad Garlinghouse that you were talking about, where he kind of talks about Flare subliminally years ago, and now looking forward into what Flare has been doing with F assets and providing yield for XRP holders.
All right, let me know if you can hear it as well. All right, hold on.
Talk to me about Flare networks. How should XRP holders, customers of Ripple and the platform view what you're doing here?
Well, in this case, it's not so much about what our customers, this is a very exciting startup called Flare Networks. They're doing some very interesting stuff with something called the Spark token, but it is really distinct from what Ripple is doing. And to me, it's just a further example of people's recognition that XRP is such an efficient digital asset. And as you and I talked about, utility will drive the long-term value of any digital asset. Seeing a company like Flare Networks and seeing them use the XRP network in various ways, I think is an opportunity to go forward. But it doesn't affect RippleNet customers and how we are using ODL for our customers. It's largely separate from that.
Yeah, I should make the point. Sorry, it is a startup, but it is Ripple funded, which is why I was sort of drawing the connection. What does it mean? What does it mean for XRP holders?
Yes.
What does it mean for XRP holders specifically?
I think XRP holders are deservedly excited about what Flare is doing. I'm excited about what Flare is doing. As we've said, anytime you're seeing real utility solving a real problem, and I think Flare has carved out an interesting niche. And I think as they move forward with this airdrop of Spark tokens, I'm optimistic for them. I've met the management team there. I think they're very talented. I think they have a clear vision of the problem they're going to solve.
We've got like 2 weeks to the airdrop, and as far as I saw even today, some exchanges, Coinbase, Kraken, are not participating. Why? Any concerns?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I certainly think the Flare management team is very talented, and I would defer to them on, what's going on. Ripple is not part of those conversations. And so we're watching with interest, and certainly we want to be supportive and helpful, but we're letting them take the lead.
And are there any plans to plug RippleNet into Flare functionality? You can see where I'm leading here. These are all leading questions.
Yeah, nothing I'm ready to announce today.
Oh, but that's also not enough. I'm just thinking in terms of this sort of building this new liquidity engine.
Yeah.
There's possibility here.
I've always kind of viewed Ripple as, Ripple is to payments as Amazon was to books, where Amazon started with just doing books. And
So this goes back to this little highlight, which I believe is in somebody's like intro that went viral. All like this little clip right here where he says Amazon to books is Ripple to money or whatever. Like that clip is viral on X. Let's face it. So this is a super old clip from, you know, way back. And my takeaways on this is that A, Ripple funds the Flare network, and then two, he's not ready to announce what's really going to happen, you know, on the back end with Ripple and Flare network. And if they're funding it, let's face it, like there is some deep ties there. And you know what just launched and what has like that right there just made me extremely bullish. Like when I watched it a couple days ago on Flare, and then seeing F assets come to fruition, and then just learning about F assets, right? Because I don't know why, but like my mind, when I heard about F assets, I thought it was something that like we were gonna connect and then like swap our XRP for FXRP, right? But no, that's not how it works. Basically, your XRP gets minted and locked up into a vault, and then you get, and it's basically used as collateral, and you get the liquid asset FXRP, which you could deploy into a liquidity pool, and sounds like staking opportunity is coming as well. And they're backing that whole vault and your FXRP with 3 assets. And it says it here on the platform. You guys can come and read it for yourselves. I don't want to bore anybody here with a bunch of reading. But here, let me just share my screen. You guys can check this out. It's backed by Flare and a stablecoin. So yeah, I mean, very interesting. I checked it out. I connected my wallet. You know, you mint your XRP in lots is what they say. And a lot is 10 XRP. And what I also felt was really, really interesting too. And I'm like, yo, like this thing is going to be basically burning XRP because the gas fees to mint your XRP over here on Flare network is XRP. So that's another huge thing for me. I'm like, once this goes viral and once we see let me just share with you guys what I'm talking about as far as FXRP and like what you guys can do with it right now. So hold on, let me reshare my screen with the Enosis Dex, which the Enosis Dex has a lot of different gems over here. Hold on, let's see here. Where are we at?
Can I say something while you're pulling that up?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think what a lot of people don't understand is there's a certain aspect of utility that like most XRP holders are used to and understand, right? XRP being utilized in the payment system for remittances, cross-border payments, so on and so forth, right? Settlement, all this stuff, the traditional like XRP maxi mindset that it's going to be the new dollar and the settlement layer of the dollar and da 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 da.
All the fucking buzz sentences and words and shit.
Yeah. All the things that trend right now in XRP and grab everybody's attention. But what a lot of people in the XRP army and community just in general aren't yet awakened to, even whales, like I personally have whales in my circle of influence of people that hold a large amount of XRP. And when I say, you know, a large amount, I mean like $25 million plus in their crypto portfolio. And they don't even know about this stuff because they stem from like having their portfolio attached to like private family offices and wealth firms that most people don't even know exist because you just can't find information on them on the internet, right? And they don't even know about these opportunities. And so what people don't understand is that whales don't just want their assets in general, whether it's real estate, whether it's whatever asset they have sitting idle. They want it collecting for them. They want it expanding their wealth. And for the first time ever, the third largest digital asset, obviously, of course, outside of Tether, right? Because I think right now it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, and XRP, is about to unlock DeFi opportunities. And that's what Aqua's trying to show you. And Flare is one of the protocols that is expanding that. They're not going to be the only one, but they are, I'd say, in terms of leaders on who's trustworthy and who's expanding these opportunities, Flare is definitely at the top of that totem pole for unlocking these opportunities. So, you know, this is huge. This is a really crazy transformation that we're living through that most people don't even understand because they lack the education that DeFi itself brings an aspect of utility to these digital assets. And that utility, XRP, has been lacking for the past, since it's been around, albeit not lacking it in terms of it doesn't exist. It's existed on the XRPL. It just hasn't been unlocked yet. And now it's about to be unlocked, right? So that's my spiel. Go ahead, Aqua. What were you going to say with the
let me just share what this FXRP is doing right now at the moment. There's three liquidity pools that just opened up on the Enosis DEX. And for those of you that don't know how to connect, you can basically connect your Bifrost wallet, and that's what I did. And the Bifrost wallet supports the Songbird network. You definitely need to get on the Songbird network to see these F assets, which is the FXRP at the moment. Keep in mind, Hugo Filion also is coming out with F assets for Doge and for Bitcoin, right? And it's going to have the same process, but those liquidity pools, I'm sure, will come here eventually once those launch. But right now, you see here this little logo, the Flare and XRP logo next to each other. That's the FXRP. And again, to get your FXRP, you're not swapping for it. You're locking it up into a core vault where there's a stable coin backing it along with Flare and Songbird. And you guys can come in here and read all about it. Let me reshare my screen on the other screen here. Hold on. Yeah, you guys can come in here and read all about it. It says what's new with F assets, introducing the core vault. And it breaks down. I mean, I can read it here quickly for you guys. The core vault is a secure multi-sig control XRPL account that acts as liquidity reserve for the F assets system. It allows agents must deposit XRP to free up collateral, including stables and Flare on Flare, and FLR on Flare and Songbird on Songbird. Users redeem FXRP directly to XRP from the wallet. Large amounts only. KYC is required. The core vault funds are time locked and secured via escrow and multi-signature signers to limit daily withdrawal risk to ensure safety. And then it says here, F assets one by one maintains a strict over collateralization ratio of 1 to 3 using Flare or Songbird, ensuring the system remains secure and trust minimized. Thanks to the core vault, agents can now optimize and reuse their collateral, making the minting process leaner, faster, and more scalable. And when you guys go to when you guys check it out, I think this is, hold on, let me just see if this is it. Yeah, let me reshare my screen on this other screen real quick here. Hold on. I wish it just followed the next screen like it does on my Safari, but it's kind of annoying. I got to come back and reshare. Hold on. So
sorry, go ahead.
This would be the screen here. You can connect your Ledger or again, your Bifrost wallet on Songbird. And then this is the F asset Oracle, and it breaks down all the stats here, and you can mint your XRP here. I would have to connect my wallet, but when you do connect your wallet, again, it'll bring everything up. You mint your XRP in lots, and a lot is 10 XRP, right? But then, why would you want to do this? Just going back and let me just circle back here real quick here, back to the Enosis DEX, is because now that your XRP is locked up in this vault that I just explained to you through the F asset system, now you have this asset called FXRP, and FXRP can be paired up with 3 other different digital assets here, Songbird, SFIN, and XtraFi, which do your own research on those projects as well. That's all part of this ecosystem. But paired up with XRP, I mean, considering these pools are basically not even a week old, they're just a few days old, we got a pretty good healthy amount total value locked on these bottom 2. So, a good amount total value locked, and look at these APYs, right? Now, am I recommending you to go and do everything that I just said and enter one of these liquidity pools? No, because there are things that are, that are risk, right? So like impermanent loss exists, right? And what we teach inside the Wealth 28 Club is like basically a what's the word I'm looking for right now? A checklist, right? Of like things that we go through before we even enter a liquidity pool. Like, are these 2 assets correlated? Is it got a healthy TVL? What do I feel about this platform? There's a whole checklist that we go through. So by no means is this financial advice and I'm telling you to enter one of these pools, but I'm just sharing with you guys the opportunity that we have at hand. Like, let's just say this top pool is a healthy pool and it does make sense to get in here, right? APY 149%. Now your XRP is not just sitting in a wallet stagnant, and you're printing 149% paired up with this other asset. And that's what we're saying here. Like, if you become an XRP multimillionaire, why would you not take a little piece of your XRP and, you know, check into this process so that your XRP can work for you? I mean, there's going to be other easier things like staking, but like staking doesn't have APY with, you know, opportunities like this. And like, you know, and I'm sure it's going to get much easier too with AI agents coming into the mix and being able to program an AI agent to do all this stuff for you. But, you know, understanding this stuff right now is what's going to make you, you know, secure the bag and just stay in crypto for a lifetime. So yeah, that's all I got, bro.
I agree with you. There was two things. First off, you know, I think that putting your idle digital assets to work, at least a portion, is extremely important. But the other thing that we were talking about, because you mentioned it's also unlocking opportunities on Bitcoin or DeFi opportunities on Bitcoin. Flare's kind of behind in terms of offering DeFi opportunities on Bitcoin because, bro, soy, you know, if I'm saying that correctly, but I mean, remember we were getting into soy back when it was like 50 cents because we were tapping into all their partnerships with like Copper to offer DeFi institutional grade infrastructure and like all these things that they were doing. And now, you know, LBTC, which is a liquid version of LBTC, pretty much the same thing where you can use your Bitcoin as liquidity, pretty much put it into this protocol, this platform, and then they give you back, you know, a liquid version of it, and you can go and take it out and you can do things with it in the DeFi ecosystem. And bro, soy has been crazy. Like it went from 50 cents to $5.50 or whatever it was, you know, like it was crazy. And that was, a lot of that was primarily driven to the engagement and DeFi activity that bumped it up there, you know? And I'm sharing my screen. We talked about this last time, but another thing too, to roll back and kind of go down another rabbit hole that I want to open up.